And before you go, don't forget to support the channel, hit like, press subscribe, and join the Kindness Journey Hub family. Together, let's spread more kindness, more compassion, and more real stories that remind us we're not alone. Billionaire tested single dad by saying you got fired. But what he said next changed everything. The moment James Carter heard the words "you're fired," the world didn't just fall apart, it shattered, cracked open, and swallowed him whole. And the worst part, his 6-year-old daughter, Emma, was sitting just outside the office door, humming to herself, waiting for him to finish work so they could buy her favorite strawberry ice cream on the way home. But James didn't know yet that this wasn't a punishment, it was a test, and the man who fired him, a billionaire feared across the country, was about to have his heart changed forever. The beginning of the storm. James had never imagined life would push him this hard. Once a happy husband and a proud father, his world had collapsed the day his wife passed away during childbirth complications. The grief was unbearable, but what kept him alive was the tiny girl who clung to his shirt with warm, trusting hands. Since then, every day was a war, but one he fought with quiet strength. He worked late nights, picked up extra shifts, skipped meals, and saved every coin. His dream was simple: give Emma the childhood she deserved. He worked as a mechanic at Falcon Motors, one of the most prestigious automobile companies in the city, owned by the mysterious billionaire, Adrian Falcon. The man was known as cold, ruthless, and unreachable. Employees whispered that he never smiled, never trusted, never cared, but James did care. He cared about every detail of his job. He cared about leaving the workshop cleaner than he found it. He cared about treating customers with respect. And above all, he cared about meeting Emma at the school gate with a smile, even if he had no energy left in him. The billionaire enters. One morning, a sleek black limousine pulled up to the workshop. Adrian Falcon stepped out, tall, sharp-eyed, wearing a suit that looked more expensive than the entire workshop's monthly electricity bill. Employees froze. Tools dropped. Conversations died mid-sentence. "Is that him?" someone whispered. "The boss himself." James kept working quietly. He didn't have the luxury to be nervous. Rent was due next week. Adrian walked around the workshop, inspecting everything. His eyes were calculating, cold, and unreadable. When he reached James, he paused. "You're Carter, right?" James stood up, wiped his hands, and nodded. "Yes, sir." Adrian studied him for a moment, too long, too intensely, as if searching for something inside him. Then he said nothing and simply walked away. James shrugged it off and returned to work. He didn't know that from that moment, Adrian Falcon had begun observing him, every day, every shift, every interaction. The accident that changed everything. One rainy evening, Emma fell sick at school. High fever. Shivering. Crying, James rushed to the school to pick her up, carrying her in his arms as she pressed her burning face into his neck. "Daddy, it hurts." He had only 200 rupees left in his wallet. Not enough for proper medicine, definitely not enough for a doctor's visit. But he spent it anyway because Emma always came first. The next morning, he arrived late to work, something he had never done before. The manager scolded him loudly in front of everyone. "If you're late again, you're done here." James bowed his head and apologized. He couldn't risk losing the only income he had, but what he didn't know was that Adrian Falcon had been standing on the balcony above, watching the entire scene. The 3 days later, James was called into the billionaire's office. Adrian sat behind his massive glass desk, tapping a pen slowly, rhythmically, almost thoughtfully. "James Carter," he said, "I've reviewed your performance." James stood straight. "Yes, sir." "You're fired." The words slammed into him like a punch. For a moment, he couldn't breathe. "Sir, please," he whispered, his voice cracking. "If I lose this job, my daughter. I won't be able to take care of her." Adrian didn't react. Not a twitch. "Hand in your badge." James felt tears burning at the edges of his eyes, but he swallowed them down. He wouldn't cry. Not here. Not in front of the man who just destroyed his life. With trembling fingers, he placed his workshop badge on the desk. "Thank you for giving me a chance, sir," he murmured. "I'll find another way." He turned to leave. Adrian's voice stopped him. "Why didn't you fight back?" James froze. Sir? You could have argued. You could have blamed someone. You could have defended yourself. Adrian leaned back in his chair. But you didn't. James looked down. Sir, arguing won't change the truth. If you think I failed, I respect your decision. Adrian narrowed his eyes. You're calm. Even when losing everything? I can't afford to be weak, James whispered. My daughter is depending on me. The revel silence stretched. Then Adrian stood up from his chair. You're not fired. James blinked. What? It was a test, Adrian said. A test of character. I wanted to see how you handled adversity. James was speechless. Adrian continued, his voice softer now. Do you know why I tested you? Because I've watched you. You treat people with kindness. You work harder than anyone else in this company. And you carry pain in your eyes, the kind I recognize. James swallowed. Sir? I don't understand. Adrian turned away, staring at the huge window overlooking the city. My father died when I was young. My mother struggled to raise me alone. I know what it's like to be a child looking at a parent who's trying to be strong while breaking inside. For the first time, Adrian Falcon looked human. I wanted to see what kind of man you really are, he said. And today, I found out. Adrian walked back to him, extending a file. James Carter, I'm not firing you. I'm promoting you. James stared at him, stunned. Promoting me? To head of customer operations, Adrian said. Higher salary. Better hours. Health insurance for you and your daughter. James felt his knees weaken. Sir, why? Why would you do this for me? Adrian didn't smile often, but this time he did, just a little, because men like you deserve a chance. And because your daughter deserves a father who can give her the world. The unexpected gift. A week later, Adrian visited the workshop personally. And he wasn't alone. He brought a small gift bag. Where's Emma? He asked. James called her over. Shy but curious, Emma peeked out from behind her father's leg. Adrian knelt in front of her, holding out a tiny pink toolbox, custom designed, her name engraved on top. For you, he said. Your father told me you want to learn how to fix things. Emma gasped. Really? For me? Adrian nodded. Just promise me you'll grow up as strong and kind as your father. She hugged him suddenly. Adrian froze, then slowly, hesitantly, wrapped his arms around her. James stood there watching, stunned. He wasn't just working for a billionaire now. He was working for someone who believed in him, someone who understood him, someone who cared. The inspiring ending. From that day on, everything changed. James rose through the company, admired for his dedication and honesty. Emma received the best education and a childhood filled with security, laughter, and hope. Adrian visited often. And though he never admitted it aloud, everyone knew, he wasn't just helping an employee. He was healing the child he once was. James would never forget the moment he thought he lost everything, because that was the moment life handed him something far greater. A new beginning. The MESSAG. Sometimes life tests you not to break you, but to reveal who you are, and sometimes the people who seem the coldest are the ones waiting for someone to remind them how to feel again.